When you're in the middle of a disagreement or argument, does your partner shut down? Do you shut down? Nothing is more frustrating than trying to work through a disagreement when your partner shuts down. It can make you feel frustrated, hopeless, alone. Luckily, shutdowns don't have to happen. You can learn the skills to stop a shutdown before it happens, even learning what to do if your partner is shutting down or you're shutting down. I have helped couples learn and navigate these shutdowns, also called stonewalling. The tips and tools in this video are backed up by research by the leaders in studying relationships, the Gottmans. By the end of this video, you will know what stonewalling is, how it shows up, and stop it from ever happening. Hey guys, I'm Tyler Rich. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist located here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I can never say specialize. I specialize in working with couples. And this is the Richer Marriage Show, a show devoted to help you become more connected and how to live a richer, more happy life together. This is the middle video in my 8-part series on how to have better relationship communication. It's the number one reason why couples come to find me is because they feel like they have poor communication. And a lot of the times I share this information with them and help them apply it to their relationship. So what I wanted to do was create a series devoted to sharing it with you. So far in this series, we've talked about where this comes from, why we have poor communication, because we're caught up in our content. And then we've talked about 4 major behaviors that when they exist, it's almost impossible to have healthy communication. And the first are the last 3 videos. So it was criticism, contempt, and defensiveness. I strongly suggest that you check out the description down below because I'll list those videos directly, but they're also part of this series. So if you want to hit pause and go watch that and get caught up before watching this one, that's great. If not, you can watch this one and then go rewatch those, because these 4 items, when they exist in a relationship, your relationship is really, really in trouble. These 4 behaviors, criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, they will cause the relationship to crumble, become toxic, and possibly even end. So to safeguard against that, you have to understand what they are, and you have to see what it is, how it shows up for you, and what are the antidotes to try to avoid it as much as possible. So with all of that, all those descriptions down below, make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe so you see the rest of the series, so you'll constantly be getting updates from the Richer Marriage Show. Once a week, I put a new episode out. So what is stonewalling? Stonewalling is being shut down. It is ending the conversation. This can show up in lots of different ways, in extreme ways and in non-extreme ways. So the first ways shutting down can show up is maybe we avoid conflict by working all the time. Maybe one partner just is working extra hours all the time to avoid any type of conflict, which then makes the conflict worse. So then we shut down even more by avoiding it by working. Sometimes it shows up by medicating, right? Sometimes it's drinking too much. Sometimes it's smoking too much, right? There's lots of ways to escape through drugs or alcohol to avoid like any type of conflict, right? You're shutting down. What I see more than anything is, let me get my phone, is the cell phone. The biggest problem that causes stonewalling. This is where your partner might make a bid for connection. Maybe you're in a disagreement and all of a sudden the phone comes up and is in our hand. Yeah, right? That I'm shutting down by focusing on something else. It can show up in TV. It can show up, let's see, focus, okay. It shows up in lots of different ways, but it's really all about shutting down. Another way to spot what stonewalling is when one partner, if they're not on their phone, if they're not watching TV, if they're shutting down, is they get up and leave. It's either they get up. I've had this argument where we're having an argument in our living room, and all of a sudden, the partner gets up and walks and starts doing the dishes. It's like, we're in the middle of something. Where are you going? Right? So running away, escaping, that's part of stonewalling, right? It just means I can't have this conversation anymore. I'm shutting down. I'm not, right? It will make the partner who's not stonewalling super anxious, usually more critical, more contemptuous, and then they come at you even harder, which forces more of a shutdown, right? This pattern, this cycle starts. There's no beginning or end. It's not caused by any one person, but it's this mixture of your both actions. So this stonewalling and the shutting down and running away could be like, I literally go into a different room to do something else. I go into a different room and I slam the door. I get into the car and I drive and I leave. I don't answer phone calls. I don't answer text messages. all these are examples of way stonewalling happens. Now, stonewalling is challenging because there's no way to repair. Once stonewalling happens, the conversation's over. You can't do anything. That's why this one is really, really toxic. It's easy to spot, but you have to try to avoid it before you get there, because once you're there, you can't repair from stopping the conversation without re-engaging it. So it really is challenging. So you have to pay attention. Are you a stonewaller, or is your partner a stonewaller? You have to figure out how does this show up the most for you. So that brings me to my question of the day. Are you a stonewaller, or is your partner? How does it show up? Does it show up by overworking? Does it show up by being on your phone? Does it show up because they get in the car and leave and don't respond to text? Leave the comments down below, because I'd love to see kind of how it shows up in your relationships, and then maybe I'll do a video on some of these things that you list. When you stonewall, it conveys icy disapproval. It means whatever you say, I don't care, right? When I get on my phone and I'm texting or I'm watching a video or I'm doing something and you're trying to talk to me and I'm here talking, yeah, it's like you don't care. You're sending a message you don't care. Usually it can come across as being smug. It comes across like you're better than your partner. What's happening though is you're so emotionally overwhelmed, right? What we're talking about can be so overwhelming. The only way to soothe, the only way to like feel better is to shut down, right? It's like, I'm so angry, I'm shutting down so I don't say something mean. It doesn't really help, but it makes sense to me that a lot of people stonewall because they want to protect the relationship. They feel like if I shut down, saying nothing is better than saying anything at all. Leaving now is better than saying nothing at all. And why it's true that we don't want to just react emotionally, shutting down in that way doesn't build trust, it doesn't build reconnection, it doesn't work, right? There are healthier ways to shut down, and I will explain those here in a second. Okay, so the antidotes to stonewalling. First, I'm going to separate it into two different spots. The first spot is, are you the person who shuts down? If you're watching this and you're the person who's shutting down, these are the ways that you need to learn, right? So you have to soothe yourself, right? So there's this thing called like self-soothing. It's very therapy, but what it really means is when I'm feeling something intently, I don't know how to regulate my body. I don't know how to regulate what I'm feeling, so I have to find a way to soothe. Sometimes that means taking a deep breath. Sometimes it means you might have to go for a walk. And there are ways for you to communicate what you need with your partner beforehand. So one of the things I realize in my relationship, I'm married to somebody who's a stonewaller, who shuts down, who just gets up and leaves. When we were first together, we would have a disagreement. Then all of a sudden, I'd hear the car leaving and be gone for hours, and I'd be super anxious, and it would lead to more arguments. So now we've created this piece which is like, okay, you're feeling like, I get told, hey, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now. This is a bit much for me. Like, this is making me really angry. It's making me really upset. I just need a second. So we just sit there for a second. We take some deep breaths. We calm down. I ask, what can I do? Right? Which is really hard because I have to help, but I'm being told where my partner's at. And that's what you have to do. Where is your partner at? So you have to find ways to soothe. Sometimes having hard conversations mean to be at the right time. You might be getting into an argument or a disagreement and it's 20 minutes before work, or you have to go pick up the kids, or it's late at night. Choosing the right time to have arguments, sometimes it's as easy as saying, hey, this feels really important and I don't think we have enough time to go here tonight. I can feel like there's a lot of energy going on for both of us. We need to have this conversation tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, right? But you have to be cautious with these tools, because if you say, hey, we need to talk about it tomorrow, you need to come and talk about it tomorrow. But you don't want to make it a threat, like, I'll talk to you in 3 days from now. But it's, hey, we don't have enough time right now. This is important. We need to stop for a second. Okay, so the last piece is taking a timeout. I hate talking about typical therapy tools and techniques in these videos because they can be used for good or evil, right? I think a lot of times in pop culture and TV shows, you see I statements or other really good therapeutic tools used in comedic ways or ways that are toxic. And any tool, any therapist, any self-help book, anything given to you can be used for good or evil. So a timeout is no different. A timeout means I'm too worked up, I feel like shutting down, I can't regulate myself, I need a break. So you can call a timeout. Hey, I need a break from this conversation. The rules with timeouts, though, if you're a person who shuts down and creating timeout, is if you call the timeout, you have to reinitiate the conversation. You have to. If you don't reinitiate the conversation, it's not a timeout. You're just stonewalling. So you have to reinitiate the conversation. It has to be at least 30 minutes later. So go play a video game, go for a run, do the dishes, do a chore. You have to find a way to soothe yourself, to not think about the argument for at least 30 minutes, no more than 24 hours. So sometime when we have the opportunity to talk, to restart this conversation up, we have to re-engage it. And you need to give your partner that time limit. And you have to follow up at that time. If you need more time, you can ask for more time. But it's about communicating so you're soothing, right? You're bringing yourself down. That is the key with timeouts. Timeouts don't work. Timeout, I'm not going to have a fight with you right now. That's not a timeout. That's stonewalling. Timeout, I'm overworked. I can't have this conversation right now. I will talk to you in an hour when I've calmed down and I've collected myself. Cool. You go and calm down. You do whatever it takes to soothe. It's really important that your partner also does something to soothe, because the last thing you want to do is call a timeout. You're calm. You're like, I was being a jerk. I want to go apologize. And your partner has not been soothing, has not been doing something to distract themselves. They've just been pacing and they're ready and they have their arrows out and they're about to shoot you with everything. It doesn't work. So when someone calls a timeout, you both have to go calm yourself down, soothe. Find a way to not think about it. And you need a list of probably 5 to 10 things that you can go to in the middle of an argument that can help you soothe, that can help you calm down, right? For me, it's going for a run, taking the dog for a walk. Sometimes it's cleaning the house. Sometimes it's doing that one chore that needs to get done. Any of those things can be really helpful. So those are the things for the partner who shuts down. For the partner who doesn't shut down, and you can see your partner shuts down, the first thing you need to do is give them options. Hey, I need to talk to you about something really important. Is this a good time, or is this a good time? I would like to do A or B. Give options, so then that way they don't feel trapped. They feel there's a level of control. Their voice is being heard. A lot of times when we're feeling shut down, it's because we are so overwhelmed, we feel like there's no point, right? So if you're giving options in a conversation, it helps lower the anxiety in those moments. The other piece to pay attention to is, are you coming across critical? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Maybe your partner is sensitive to criticism. We got into an argument in my relationship one time when I was like, hey, there's construction up here on the road you're going to want to get over. Don't tell me how to drive. It started to get defensive, and I was like, whoa. I was just offering some help. But it's because I married someone who grew up in a very critical household. So anytime I offer suggestions or advice, it could come across as criticism. I know that about my partner now. So I have to be really cautious about how do I share that information. Like how do I share information in an important way, right? I have to be soft, right? I always talk about being lovingly sharing what I need to talk about. So the last piece, if your partner shuts down, right? We've talked about giving options, about being loving, is focus on the here and now. Focus on the present and what you want moving forward. We sometimes get so caught up in talking about the past. This thing happened, and this thing happened, and this thing happened, and we're trying to explain our feelings. And in doing so, it comes across maybe as critical, as contemptuous, as attacking, and our partner wants to shut down. So if you see your partner shutting down, sometimes it's saying, hey, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling hurt, this is what I need from you moving forward. I need you to do the dishes for me when I ask. I need you to do this. Right? Focus on the here and now and what the practical things can be. The more you practice that, you're leaning in and you're being soft and loving. You mix these 3 antidotes together, your partner will more than likely not shut down. I'm not going to say shutdown will never happen, but these paths, these antidotes will help you avoid the shutdown. Now, if you're both doing these antidotes and you've watched the other videos on criticism, contempt, defensiveness, you are on track to get to the real meat of this communication series. Because most of the time, you guys don't have a communication problem. It's not about what you're communicating. You're having an emotional connection problem. And in this video series, the first 5 episodes, I've talked about what problems get in the way of communication. The next videos in this series are all about how to get to the emotion. How do I share an emotion? How do I show up for my partner's emotion? How do we not fix it? How do we get connected? And in these videos, these 4 videos on the 4 horsemen are about things to avoid. The next videos are on things to do to improve your communication, improve your emotional connection. So make sure you click one of the videos up above, and then I'll put the playlist up above so you can see that video also. And with that, I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, share this with people to help them improve their communication so we can have a stronger marriages around the world. So with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.